She hasn't said a word, not one single word, but her body, her behavior, her patterns, they've already told you everything. And here's what's absolutely wild. Scientists at the University of Pennsylvania found that 93% of human communication is nonverbal. That means a woman in love is basically confessing her feelings every single day without ever opening her mouth. So, if you've been waiting for her to say, "I love you" first, you might be missing the confession that already happened 3 weeks ago. Today, we're breaking down the 5 signs a woman in love simply cannot hide, no matter how hard she tries. And trust me, number 3, it's going to completely change the way you read people. Stay with me. This one's important. Okay, real talk. Women are often called mysterious, complicated, hard to read, and honestly, some of that reputation is earned. We are layered creatures. We overthink, we analyze, we sometimes say "I'm fine" when we are absolutely not fine. And yes, we know. That's confusing, but here's the thing nobody talks about. When a woman falls in love, genuinely, deeply, can't stop thinking about you in love, she loses almost all control over the signals she sends. It's not something she chooses. It's biology, it's psychology, it's the kind of thing that has been studied in labs, observed in brain scans, and documented by researchers who spent actual grant money figuring out why humans act completely unhinged when they catch feelings. And the result of all that research, a woman in love is one of the most readable human beings on the planet. The problem isn't that she's hiding it well. The problem is most people don't know what to look for. So, today I'm handing you the blueprint. 5 signs that are so hardwired into human behavior that she can't fake them, can't suppress them, and honestly, probably doesn't even realize she's doing them. But before we get into the list, I need to tell you something first. Something that makes this whole conversation more interesting. Here's a question nobody asks, but everybody needs to answer. What's the actual cost of misreading someone's feelings? Think about it. How many relationships never started because the guy thought she wasn't interested when she was practically screaming it in sign language? How many what-if situations exist in this world simply because someone didn't recognize the signs? Research published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that men misread women's romantic interest approximately 70% of the time. 70%. That is not a small number. That is the majority. That means most men most of the time are getting this completely wrong. And women? We're not entirely off the hook, either. Sometimes we misread our own feelings. We convince ourselves we're just being friendly while we're literally rearranging our entire schedule to be in the same room as someone. So, this isn't just a list. This is a mirror. These 5 signs apply, whether you're trying to understand someone else or understand yourself. Now, let's get into it. You mentioned in passing 6 weeks ago that you don't like cilantro. Casual comment, throwaway line. You forgot you even said it. She did not forget. She remembered. And when she ordered food for you last Tuesday, she specifically told the restaurant to leave the cilantro off your dish. This is not normal friend behavior. This is love behavior. Here's the psychology behind it. When a woman is emotionally invested in someone, her brain essentially assigns that person a higher priority in her memory system. Neuroscientists call this motivated encoding, the idea that we unconsciously remember things that matter to us. And when someone has claimed real estate in your heart, everything they say starts to matter. The small stuff, the random stuff, the stuff you don't even remember saying. She's filing it all away. Ask her what you were wearing the first time you met. She'll probably tell you. Ask her what you said that made her laugh on your 3rd conversation. She has it cataloged. Ask her what you mentioned offhand about your childhood, your fears, your weird little pet peeves, and watch her pull that information out like she's been carrying it in her pocket this whole time, because she has. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. It's not just what she remembers, it's how she uses it. A woman in love doesn't just store your information. She acts on it. She surprises you with it. She references it at moments that feel impossibly thoughtful. And then she acts casual about it like she didn't just move mountains to make you feel seen. That right there, that's not coincidence. That's someone who's crazy about you. This next one is so subtle and yet so devastatingly revealing that researchers actually built an entire field of study around it. It's called postural mirroring and orientation. And the short version is this: your body points toward what your heart wants. When a woman is in love with someone, her body physically orients itself in their direction, even in a crowded room, even in the middle of a conversation with someone else, even when she's pretending to be completely unbothered and definitely not thinking about you. Her feet will point towards you. Her shoulders will turn to face you. Her head will tilt slightly when you talk, which, by the way, is a documented sign of deep interest and engagement that primatologists first noticed in animals and then recognized in humans. Dr. Albert Mehrabian, a psychologist at UCLA, spent decades studying nonverbal communication and concluded that body language accounts for over half of all the emotional meaning we convey. Over half, and most of it happens completely below the level of conscious control. So, she can school her face. She can keep her voice steady. She can say, "Oh, we're just friends," with complete composure. But if her body keeps finding ways to close the distance between you, if she leans in when she talks to you, if she finds reasons to stand a little closer than necessary, if her feet keep betraying her in group settings, her body is telling a completely different story than her words. Here's the funny part. Women know this about themselves. Some of us will actually catch ourselves doing it and then dramatically overcorrect, suddenly sitting rigidly straight, turning away, pretending to be fascinated by the ceiling. And that overcorrection, that's almost more obvious than the original signal. You can't win when you're in love. The body just tells on you. Okay, this is the one I promised would change how you read people. Ready? A woman in love doesn't just care about you. She starts caring about your world, your friends, your sister who's going through a hard time, your weird coworker who keeps stealing your lunch from the break room, your dog, your career, the project you mentioned once that you're stressed about. She starts asking follow-up questions. Hey, how did that meeting go? When she remembered you mentioned it in passing 3 days ago. Did your friend end up getting that job? About someone she's never even met. How's your mom doing? When you told her weeks ago that your mom wasn't feeling well. This is not small talk. This is investment. This is someone who has allowed your life to bleed into hers, and she's caring for your world as if it's already partly hers, too. Psychologists call this relationship fusion, the gradual process where two people's lives, concerns, and identities begin to overlap. And research from Stony Brook University found that in early-stage romantic love, the brain's reward centers respond to your partner's well-being almost identically to how they respond to your own. Translation: when you win, she feels it. When you're stressed, she feels it. When something good happens to you, it genuinely makes her happy, even when it has nothing to do with her. Now compare that to casual interest. Someone who's just being polite, they ask surface questions. They listen to your answer, and then redirect to themselves. They don't follow up. They don't hold your concerns in their head between conversations. But her, she's holding all of it. And here's the part that's almost a little heartbreaking if you think about it too hard. She's doing this quietly. She's not announcing it. She's not saying, "Hey, I care deeply about your entire life and the people in it." She's just showing up consistently in small, easy-to-miss ways. Don't miss them. This next one is massive, and it's massively underappreciated. Time is arguably the most honest currency of affection that exists. You can say anything. You can text someone, "You mean so much to me," in 30 seconds while scrolling through your phone. But rearranging your life, that costs something real. And a woman in love will rearrange her life for you quietly, consistently, and without ever once making you feel like you owe her for it. She had plans. She had a routine. She had things she did on Friday nights, people she called on Sunday mornings, rhythms to her week that worked perfectly fine before you showed up. And then she started adjusting them. Suddenly, she's free on the night you mentioned you might want to hang out. Suddenly, her super busy weekend has a 2-hour window that lines up perfectly with your availability. Suddenly, she's watching the show you mentioned because she wants to be able to talk to you about it. Suddenly, she's reading about the topic you're passionate about because she wants to understand your world better. None of this is announced. None of it is presented as a sacrifice. She just does it. And this is backed by behavioral science. A 2020 study in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that people in early romantic love reported spontaneously reorganizing their priorities, not because they were asked to, but because the desire to spend time with the person they loved became stronger than previously held. Preferences. In other words, love literally rewires what you want to do with your time. So, if you notice that she's always somehow available when you reach out, if her schedule seems to have this convenient flexibility that didn't exist before, don't chalk that up to luck. That's not luck. That is someone who decided somewhere along the way that being around you is worth rearranging things for, and she's hoping, quietly, without saying it, that you notice. I saved this one for last because it's the most undeniable, the least controllable, and honestly, the most beautiful. A woman in love looks at you differently, not just longer, differently. There's a term in psychology called the love gaze. Researchers at Wellesley College conducted a study where they measured the direction and duration of eye contact between couples and strangers and found that romantic partners exhibit a very specific gaze pattern, one that lingers on the face as a whole, rather than eyes alone, and returns again and again, even during casual conversation. But beyond the science, there's something you've probably already experienced without having words for it. You've caught her looking at you when she thought you weren't watching. You've looked up mid-sentence and found her eyes already on you with this expression that's hard to describe. It's soft, it's warm, it's just a little too focused to be casual. And then she looks away quickly or laughs it off, or pretends she was looking at something behind you. She wasn't. She was looking at you. And here's the cruel irony. She cannot control this. The eyes are the one place the body completely refuses to lie. A 2012 study published in Psychological Science found that the direction of spontaneous gaze is one of the strongest indicators of unconscious romantic interest because it operates below the level of social awareness. She can put on a perfect poker face. She can keep her voice completely neutral. She can say all the right detached, unbothered things, but when she thinks you're not looking, her eyes will find you anyway, every single time. And if you've caught her in that moment, if you've locked eyes by accident and felt something shift in the air before either of you looked away, congratulations. You weren't imagining it. That was real. That was her heart showing up in her eyes before her brain could shut it down. That's the most honest thing a person can show you. Now, here's something that's going to add a layer to all of this. These 5 signs are beautiful. They're real. They're backed by science and human nature and centuries of people falling helplessly in love with each other. But here's the part that's easy to miss. A woman showing these signs is also, in most cases, terrified. She's terrified because love without certainty is one of the most vulnerable positions a human being can be in. She's investing her time, her memory, her attention, her schedule, her eyes, and she doesn't know. Yet if any of it is landing, she doesn't know if you see it. She doesn't know if you feel the same. Brené Brown, researcher and best-selling author, spent years studying vulnerability and found that the fear of being too much or not enough is the single greatest barrier to authentic connection. And women, socialized to not appear desperate or too eager, often show love in these quiet, deniable ways precisely because they're giving themselves an out. If you don't respond, they can tell themselves you just didn't notice. So, when you see these signs, and now you will because you can't unsee them, and understand what they're costing her. Understand that every remembered detail, every body that turns towards you, every rearranged Friday night is a tiny act of courage wrapped up in a casual gesture. She's brave even when she looks effortless. All right, let's bring this home. You now know the 5 signs a woman in love simply cannot hide. She remembers everything because your details live rent-free in her head. Her body turns towards you because physics and feelings are working together against her. She gets invested in your world because love expands outward, beyond just the person. She changes her schedule because time is the one thing you can't fake. And she looks at you differently because the eyes are the only part of us that refuses to perform. These aren't theories, these aren't guesses. These are patterns so deeply embedded in human psychology that researchers, neuroscientists, and behavioral experts have spent careers documenting them. And the beautiful, slightly humbling truth is this. If someone is showing you these signs, they've already chosen you. They're just waiting, quietly, nervously, hopefully, to find out if you're going to choose them back. So, Here's what I want to leave you with. And it has nothing to do with clicking anything. Think of one person in your life right now, just one. Run these 5 signs through your head, like a checklist, and if more than 3 of them fit, say something. Not because I told you to, but because life is genuinely too short to be someone's almost. And if she's been showing you these signs, quietly, consistently, without making it a big deal, she deserves to find out what you're going to do about it. Don't leave that on the table, okay? Before you go, I need to tell you something, and I mean need because everything we just talked about, how a woman shows love, what are signals, mean how to read the things she's not saying, it only tells half the story. Here's the half you're missing. There are specific things about certain men that women are drawn to at a cellular level. Not looks, not money, not confidence in the way people usually mean it. I'm talking about qualities that are so specific, so quietly powerful, and so rarely talked about that most men go their entire lives never knowing they exist. There is a video on this channel right now waiting for you titled 3 Things Women Love, about older men but won't tell you. And I'm not casually suggesting you watch it. I'm telling you it is the direct continuation of this conversation because understanding what a woman in love looks like, that's powerful. But understanding what made her fall in the first place, that changes everything. It's right there. The end screen is showing it to you right now. Click it. You'll thank me in about 8 minutes.